Okay, so I am joined with some very interesting looking creatures. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joined with some amazing people on stage, right? And the whole theme of today is Lord, give me one more. So we have the plus one theme, right? Where you don't just come to youth, you come with the plus one, right? Why? Because what's the point of complaining about all the problems and talking about all the problems if we're not going to be part of the solution to the problems? Hashtagging on Instagram is not going to solve the problem. Toying outside your house is not going to solve the problem. Burning a tire is not going to change anything. It might actually just make things worse. So we've been looking at being a voice of influence, being someone that knows the problems and does something about the problems, becoming the change. So we want South Africa to be amazing. How many of you would like to leave your cell phone with confidence on the chair, come back 2 weeks later and your phone is still there? No one? I would definitely like that. How many of you would like to know that if you had to drop 1,000 rand, someone would pick it up and not shout Vimba because they're running in the opposite direction, but run towards you to give you your 1,000 rand? Right? Amen? Everyone with 1,000 rand dropping it somewhere said? Amen. If you're dropping 1,000 rand, please come to me. I'd love to be your friend. I'm just kidding. Okay, so we're going to look at this whole thing because sometimes it can be very daunting to talk to someone, to minister to someone, to invite someone to church, to share our testimony with someone. And if you really struggle, you could always write down something that really impacted you that you want to share with people and practice it so that when the moment comes, you're ready. But I asked these amazing people to share their story about how they came to church, who invited them, how did it happen, and why did they stay? Why did they not come once and never come back? Or why did they come once like Fatima, disappear for years and centuries, but eventually come back and now here to stay? So I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves. Do you want to tell the people who you are? And then I shall ask the first person to share their story. So who are you? And what did you want with your life? And I'm just kidding. Please introduce yourself.
Me?
Definitely, most people wouldn't know.
My leader's Kayla.
Well, I suppose it's something. Definitely. I'm paying for my sins with it. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Crazy sister of mine. Who are you?
Hi guys, I'm Andile and I am happily engaged with a very good man.
I'm sure he's hiding like, no, babe, why, babe, no. No, I'm just kidding. And who are you, sir? Whose nephew? I thought it was your brother. I thought his brother was playing the drums. I just found out he's an uncle. All right, uncle, who are you? Malume, who are you?
You are forcing me to say, okay. I'm Uncle Thabo.
Uncle Thabo. Tell us something about you that we wouldn't know.
How do I top what she said?
Well, you don't have a fiance, so I'm sorry, but I'm sure you could try. You can't try find a fiance right now, but you can try something else.
The crazy thing about me is that I'm also getting engaged.
Congratulations. When should we expect the wedding? Because we did say last week, I want weddings. I'm tired of not getting dressed up for weddings, so bring the weddings on. Andile's got a wedding coming up, you see? We need more Andile and Arnaldos.
Yes, we are all coming.
So when are you getting engaged?
No, it's going to happen. I just have to discuss with her, in terms of...
Who's the lucky girl?
Huh?
Who's the lucky girl?
Who?
Okay, clearly.
No, it's fine. You'll see her. It's a surprise.
Oh, okay. On the wedding day?
Yeah, on the wedding day.
Okay.
You'll definitely see her there. She will be there. She'll attend.
Does your pastor know about this?
Huh?
Does your pastor know about this?
The pastor will also be there.
Oh, my
goodness.
Wait. Okay, so let's start with Andile. Share your story with us. Let's hear it.
How I came.
Yes, how you came to church, what caused you to eventually come if you got invited a million times and said no for the first few, and what caused you to stay as well?
Okay, so I was in a previous church and they used to come and fetch us and then it stopped. So I had brothers and sisters in St. Mary's Children's Home where I currently stay and they were going to the actual church. Every Saturday, every Sunday, Active is here, the bus is, guys, you're late, go. It was always that case, and I'm just like, these people are faithful. Every Saturday, every Sunday, Pastor Shane, always there. I'm just like, I'm going to the active church because now the other people stop fetching us. And that's how I went. I was really in love with God. I had an encounter with him before I came here. And I just saw how passionate people were about coming to church, and Pastor Shane always on time, Sunday, Saturday, Shireen always going to church. I'm just like, I'm going. And when I came, what kept me coming here is relationships. And I think many people can relate to that. When you come to a church, first encounters and relationships are what count and what really keep people. For silly example, if I'm a girl, pretty girl, and I come to church,
Which you definitely are. I mean, you came to church and found a fiance.
No, there's something deeper to this. So if I come to church and everyone's just looking at me nasty, and there's just no one saying, hi, how are you? Because I'm sitting alone. I wouldn't want to come back. And what kept me coming is, what can I say? Kindness, the gestures that I received from people here, ensuring that you don't feel alone. That's very important. Nothing breaks my heart seeing someone new sitting alone. It's heartbreaking. You wouldn't want to come back. You're just like, I don't feel welcome. And as children of God, I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that if another child comes in our home, it's welcome. I don't care if I'm an introvert. I don't care how shy I am. It's, hi, what's your name? I'm Thabo. Welcome to our church. That's all it takes. And that's what has kept me going. And if we can keep that culture, if maybe we've gotten a bit familiar, if we keep that culture, it will really change many people's lives, and our church will continue to grow because people want relationships. And the last thing I just want to make example of, thinking of gangs. They know they're doing wrong, but they stay in that gang because they feel a bond with a brother, a sister, whoever you're busy sinning with. You feel a bond with that person. You know that person will back you up when you're sinning. You know when you're going to prison, they'll come and bail you out. It's a bond. How much more in the church? I'm bailing you out of sin. There's so many ways that we can get that one more person through the way we act. If I come and I don't feel greeted, I don't feel greeted, sorry. I'm not greeted by someone, I'm just like, Haiba, what's up here? And I mean, the second commandment, it's in Matthew 22, verse 30 something, if I'm not mistaken, where God says it's the same as the second one, and God says it's the same as the first one. He says you need to love your neighbor as you love yourself. If I love my neighbor like I love myself, there's no way I'm not going to greet. There's no way I'm not going to say welcome. Even if I have my crews, my group that I spend time with after church, I break that up because they know me, they know how much I love them. But to just reach that one soul to say, hi, how are you? It's your first time here, welcome. This is amazing, this is my home. And yeah, that's my story.
Beautiful. And you know what? We generally like to make assumptions of how someone's going to respond. Don't do that. You know, if I can encourage us, we do have a beautiful family culture. And if you've been sitting on your own, don't be like, I'm leaving the church because no one loves me. Just find someone, because you can find someone. Well, people will gladly love you if you go to them as well. But at one of the schools earlier this week, we went up to a big group of girls, and one of my girls were like, no, they're going to be so cold towards us. I was like, you know what, let's go anyway, let's just try. And the minute we started speaking, these girls were lovely, they were soft, they were excited, they're like, yeah, tell us more. You see, never make assumptions as well. Because sometimes we can be like, oh no, they're going to look at me weird, or they're going to treat me badly. Don't assume that, because they're probably waiting for someone to just make them feel at home or welcome. Beautiful, thank you. Thabo, tell us how it went down.
So it went down in 2017. In 2017, myself and the person who invited me, who happens to be a Mr. Calvin Malinga.
I did not know he invited you.
You didn't know?
Wow. Mm-mm.
Yeah, also me. I didn't know until he invited me. So we met at a friend's house. It was his friend. And then, but I saw him as a big brother figure. Yeah. So we're playing FIFA, myself and the big brother, we're playing FIFA and I was winning. And then Calvin came. Yeah, amen. Then Calvin came to see the big brother. He disturbed everything. And then we played a match, myself and Calvin, which I think I won, right, Calvin? Yeah, I think I won as well. But then he was playing good, so because he played good, I had a respect for him. His name had weight, if I can put it like that. And then he invited me to church. Failed, tried again, failed. I kept running. And then the one Wednesday, his disciples, 2 guys, came to me to invite me to Calvin's house. And I think then, because it wasn't Calvin himself, I was like, hey, this guy has other people that is like, wow. Like, what would make a guy want to go to another guy's house without FIFA and gaming and stuff? So it was weird. And also, like, I wanted to shut him up. I wanted to come, and then that's it. So I came to cell, and the cell was like Andile when she came to the service. It was welcoming. When he prayed, he thanked God for me being there. I was like, wow. Like, okay, cool. I feel valued here. And then after the cell, played FIFA. I'm sorry. Yeah, FIFA's going to come up a lot here. And then he invited me to boot camp on Saturday. That was my first service. I came to boot camp. I saw the church. I was like, what? What is this? I was like, this is insane. And then boot camp dragged on for long. So boot camp was long. So somewhere I was hungry. Somewhere there. And then someone bought me food, but the experience itself was nice.
Someone bought you food?
Yeah.
No one ever bought me food. What did you do right?
I looked
FIFA.
Oh,
was FIFA the one that went? Okay, it was the FIFA. Sorry.
Yeah, but for me, it was the welcoming. When I came in, the culture. So like Andile said, people were just speaking to me. And I was like, why? You don't even know me, man. Like there's people that I had like full-on conversations with, but I never got their name. And then, that's all I can say. Yeah, so it's the culture, worship, and the food. Yeah.
And FIFA.
Yeah, and Calvin's follow-up. So his follow-up was also good. Yeah, because if he had stopped, I wouldn't have come. Because I was actually invited 2 years ago before that, so 2015. But then the way they described the church, like there's music, there's drums, I was like, you're lying. So I never came until I was here, and I was like, oh, wow, wow.
But that's the thing. I like what you said there. Sometimes, most times, actually, people won't say yes the first time. And sometimes it's just that the person's not in a good place. Other times it's the person's got messed up perceptions of God, maybe from a bad experience, or because of how shameful they feel about themselves and what they're doing. And you know, if you just keep being there, like Fatima's story you're going to see, if you just keep being there and you just keep, keeping the door open, if that's even the right way to say it, there will come a day where they will soften or something, they will hit rock bottom. And they're going to need you, and they're going to need God. And now you have an opening. But sometimes we give up. Oh, you blue-ticked me. Okay, it's fine. Hasta la vista, baby. You'll never hear me again. God, I'll wait from heaven for you. Like, hello, remember me when I invited you? Yeah, now look where you are. That's how we can be. And we can't get like that. Because with a guy, if it's the right guy, in Jesus' name, he will be persistent if he likes to go, right? And sometimes the girl will say no the first time. Don't be a stalker. I'm not saying a stalker. But it's that loving the person enough to not give up on getting them to church, to Jesus. So I like how you said he kept following up, because that is something we also cannot do because we get offended or we take it personally. That was deep. Thank you. Cut the FIFA part out. Your life will be so much better without sports. But that was just coming from me. Anyway, Fatima, how did you get here?
Well, at first, I heard about the Active Church through my brother and Nash. And yeah, I wasn't really interested. I just like Active Church. Okay, cool. And then one day I was going to the shop and I met Jemima, and I had no idea that she was part of the church. Then next thing I'm at school and there's Jemima, Nash, and Gloria, and I'm like, what's happening here? So I'm just saying that to show you that God always knows what his plan for you is. So even if, well, let me just get to my story. Jemima invited me for years, like, well, I think
For
a whole,
years?
a whole year maybe.
Hectic.
She kept inviting me and calling me, and not just inviting me, she didn't know me, but she'd call me and ask me, are you fine, how are you? She'd check up on me, and I'm like, this lady doesn't even know me at all, but she's checking up on me to see how I'm doing. And I said no, even after she checked up on me countless of times. And eventually one day she called me and she's like, what are you doing? It was a Saturday for youth. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing nothing. I tried so hard to come up with an excuse that day, but I didn't. And she's like, I'm outside, let's go to church. And I went, and I had a friend with me. So we both went, and it was amazing, it was nice, but I didn't really like people. So I didn't want to be around her or anyone else for that matter. But I came here, and the service was nice. I gave my life on that day. It really touched me, but I didn't come back after that again.
And there we go back.
And then I didn't come back for a while. But Jemima would still call me, and she'd send me devotions and stuff like that. And I'd pray, and I was a really angry person back then. And I'd pray, and God would like speak to me and touch me. And then eventually I came back, and I got to build a relationship with God and actually meet him. Because I've known God, well, about God my whole life, but I didn't have a relationship with him. So her always calling me and showing me how it is to have like someone who's always looking out for you, just like God does for us, was very helpful.
It's very powerful. Thabo, if you had never played FIFA and met Calvin, and if Calvin hadn't actually gotten you to church, where would you be today?
So what was happening in the background besides the whole FIFA thing was I was getting into some serious stuff, you know, some very shady businesses. I'm joking. It doesn't sound.
You are on the shade.
Okay, whoa, that sounds too hectic. Wait. So I actually thought of this afterwards. So after I came, because Kelvin came to fetch me the one day. This is like now recently at my house. And then my mom, she saw Kelvin, and then she was like speaking to him, and then she started saying thank you to Kelvin for bringing me and stuff like that. I would have been fine, you know, like I wasn't gonna like rob people, you know. So she's there saying thank you, my sister as well. They're all thanking Kelvin for coming and bringing me to church, because otherwise I was gonna be dead, you know, saying hectic stuff like that. And then in which I was defending myself because Kelvin was getting a big head. You know, so
I was wondering what that was in turf the other day. Like you could see this big balloon type of thing, you know, just growing.
Yeah, so Kevin was getting a big head, and then I had to defend myself. But afterwards, I actually thought that, yeah, if he had never came, you know, like I was actually like in a bad place. Like I was,
Sure.
yeah, I was in a bad place. Now, okay, let me say one. So. There was a day when I sold my mother's trolley at the scrapyard to go and buy, you know, some flavor-filled drinks.
Hey, hectic.
Yeah, with some friends, you know. Yeah, that's just one. You know, I'm gonna just drop that one just so you can see, you know, where the spectrum
The
was.
fact that your mom didn't kill you is a miracle. Because, you know, even when the mother's Tupperware goes missing,
Yeah.
instant death.
I
The
sold
fact
like-
that you sold this on purpose
Like
and
a
didn't die.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
Like I pushed it and everything. Yeah, but yeah, actually after my mom I was grateful, and my sister and everyone, I actually thought that flip, like God sent Kelvin like at the perfect time. And yeah, I think he had a full-fledged plan, because there was even a time when I was like, God, if I have no plan, then I'm gonna come to church. And then God made sure I had no plan that day, you know, and then like Kelvin rocked up and I wasn't ready. He's like, come, like, and I came. Like, what? Doesn't make sense, but yeah, I guess God's plans sometimes don't make sense. Yeah.
Hectic. Very deep. So, maybe just to close off, in like 30 seconds, Andile, what would you say to people who don't want to win people to church, or they don't want to tell people about the gospel because my friend's going to look at me weird, or that's not cool, or what would you say to people who are scared to invite others to church or to share the gospel in general?
Sorry, I'm just thinking. There's a lot I would say, but I'm just thinking of someone who's really just scared and they're not trying to be funny or anything. Fear is really dangerous. The devil uses it to close many opportunities, and he will do that to us. There's something I want to say. Please repeat your question one more time.
So, what would you say to someone who's too scared or doesn't want to tell people about church or Jesus?
Okay. I'd ask them about their encounter and how they met Jesus. And if it was through someone, I'd ask them if that person was too scared, or I don't want to use the word selfish, but in a sense, you're thinking about what is this person going to say about you? What are they going to think about you? The picture is bigger than us. It's about Jesus. So it really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, when the Lord comes, you're going to wish you really spoke to someone. It's bigger than us. I'd say it's just bigger than us, really.
Yeah. That's powerful. So I just want to close with this. It's really simple. It's really simple. You don't have to know 10 Bible verses by head on the spot and quote it. It's literally just walking up to people. The person that's scanning your groceries. How are you doing? What's your name? Oh, that's so cool. You know, what are you doing this weekend? The waiter that is serving you, or someone at the bus stop. Just start looking, or start with people close to you. And just start looking for little opportunities just to say, don't you want to come with me? Start simple. You don't have to have big words. You don't have to be all intelligent, or you don't have to, if you stutter, you stutter. That's okay. My first experience of trying to invite someone to church, we were walking through a Zettenville because we had just opened a second youth group that side. And I had never really done street evangelism. And I jumped in front of this girl. I was like, hi, how are you? And she looked at me and started running. And I looked at everyone else. I was like, guys, what did I do? I was so happy. They're like, Kayla, she probably thought you were going to rob her the way you jumped in front of her. So it's okay. It's okay to maybe have one or two funny experiences. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it's the best feeling when you see someone that you took the time to, where you thought they'd be uninterested, or they'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't need that. Going, I'm actually desperate for that, or changing and thanking you because you took the time to love them enough to invite them. So can we give them a hand? Thank you so much. You guys were amazing.